Hello, I'm Doug Mackenzie and welcome to the Insurtech Show. This episode, we investigate the rapidly changing landscape of insurance and how digital technologies impact the way societies are evolving. We take a journey to the Americas and sit down with Chubb, who partners with CitiBanamex and Afluenta to find out how insurance is fueling economies and empowering people from all walks of life in 2019. First up, we have Chubb's Chief Digital Officer, Ringstead, who takes us through the latest developments in the industry. Sean, can you give me a bit of background to Chubb?
Sure. We're the world's largest publicly traded property and casualty insurer. We operate in 54 countries, and we will insure virtually anything from a nickel taxi ride in Singapore to an oil rig to a large multinational company.
That's absolutely incredible. Now, has the advent of digital and even mobile technologies enabled Chubb to do that?
It's playing an increasingly more important role. If you take a step back about how insurance has been transacted, it can be a complicated product, seem to be a complicated product, and the distribution of it can be hard. And digital allows so many different levers to be pulled to help the customer figure out what it is they want to protect, the type of service that they need, and then how we fulfill that, right? And digital, whether it's mobile, whether it's web, all of that is playing an increasingly important role.
So just from your perspective, what have been some of the biggest developments in the insurance industry over the last couple of years?
Well, insurance is such an important cog in the wheel of the global economy. And what you've seen over the last decade, and it's accelerating, are these secular trends: urbanization, aging, rising healthcare costs, and then you have digital. And digital has driven a lot of change through the economy and societies. And individual companies have had to adapt and change. Different sectors have had to adapt and change. You've got new sectors that have come up literally in the last 3 to 5 years. New ecosystems starting to take shape. And insurance plays a vital role in that, or the oil that makes it all work. And so we have to change because of that. And I think it's all underpinned by the customer. And there is such a heightened awareness these days about the customer and understanding what the customer needs, that insurance is having to adapt to that. Historically, if you work in the insurance industry, it's about the policyholder. It's about policy administration systems. Everything we think and do has historically been centered around the product. And now insurance is having to pivot and think more about the customer and how do we deliver that product in a more efficient and a more effective way. So for us at Chubb, that's meant investing a significant part of our technology spend, which is over $1 billion a year, at digitization, from our back office operations and doing things more effectively and efficiently, but more importantly to the customer, making sure that when we transact, that we do that in a way that provides a rich customer experience, and importantly in an omni-channel way as well. So it's not everything that has to be digital at all times. So when we had the hurricanes a couple of years back, we answered over 98% of those calls in a matter of seconds. And that wasn't done by a robot. That was done by a human, because at the time of need, you want somebody there saying, are you okay? Do you need a first responder? So our efforts now thinking are really around that omni-channel and allowing the customer to access where and when they can. But digital is such an important component of that, because it really does now open up a huge landscape of how you can deliver product and service and the type of product and service that you can deliver to the customer.
We then went to Argentina to speak with Alejandro Constantino, CEO of the peer-to-peer lending platform Afluenta, who tells us how important insurance and trust is to developing new industries and economies in Latin America. Having this digital marketplace with all the different lending going on very quickly, very digital, can you tell us, how did you really protect against various different issues with that?
The opportunity to work with other vendors, like insurance partners, and other partners, is that can help us in the enhancement of the experience, dealing with, borrowers and lenders, In the case of lenders, they wanted to mitigate the risk. In the case of borrowers, they wanted to protect something they will be acquiring for the loans that they will be asking to us. So essentially, what we are trying to see and to be empathic and to understand what are the purpose of the money they are requesting to us, and what are how we can mitigate the risk, of the lenders. So in that sense, we were focusing in each segment, borrowers and lenders, and what are the benefits they are looking for and what are they looking for dealing with us. And we were, for example, in the case of insurance company, we were asking, our partners, say, hey, can you help us to mitigate the risk for lenders, in the case of death? And for the borrowers, say, hey, are you asking a loan, and you are applying a loan with us, because you wanted to improve your home? And in that sense, is your home coverage, by the right insurance product? Can we give an opinion about that, or can we bundle, insurance and lending product for the satisfaction of the borrower? And in fact, we did that, and that is very successful.
I mean, what's that going to mean for the Argentina kind of society going forward?
Well, this is, for Argentina means, a process to understand how technology can, with this kind of segmentation and not using physical branches as a distribution channel, giving a chance, for the unserved segment, to be served by another institution. But this is a learning process, because as I said at the beginning, we need to create the confidence of the customers and the trust of the customers just to be open to deal with new companies. Trust in a company or trust in another person, trust in general, cannot be created overnight. So we have been working for 7 years, in this market in Argentina, almost 4 in Peru and 3 in Mexico, and we learned how to create the trust of the people. You need to be patient. I mean, you need to be in the process to push other people just to get a response. You need to be patient. You need to be transparent, and you need to be consistent along the way, just to create that kind of trustability you are looking for. So Argentina and the region in general, are surprised by the size, how many companies are working in this segment, and how vigorous are them, and how venture capitalists are investing in this kind of company. But in the other side, there are people. And that people need to be accustomed, and need to understand the way we operate, and they need to see the benefit. Because if you tell the people, hey, it would be a good loan for you, we need to explain them, and we need to decode with them how that a loan coming from a fintech company can be much better than other institutions.
Speaking of gaining the trust of customers, we spoke with Sinead OConnor of CitiBanamex over in Mexico City, who told us how their contextualized digital insurance offerings were improving financial education.
How important is a contextualized interface for mobile when it comes to digital banking and insurance?
So, I think one of the challenges we have here in Mexico today is still obviously the level of access to banking and financial services. Only half of the population have a banking account. And so there's a way to go in terms of financial education. When we look at insurance, only a little over 2% of the population actually have access to insurance.
2%?
2%. So, being able to offer, there's a big piece around our education, and there's a big piece around how we contextualize the offer in an appropriate way to customers so that they can understand it. It's relevant at the time, at the moment they need it. And also I think around, how do we ensure that we're creating products that are suitable for the profile of individuals that operate here in Mexico today.
So how does the mobile kind of interface fit into that?
The mobile is, if I think of CitiBanamex, 90+% of our digital customers are on mobile. And the growth in terms of mobile usage has, it's been exponential in the past 2 years. And so we're growing at 3 times the rate in mobile as we are on internet in terms of financial, so in terms of our actual interface with customers today. So mobile is, and it's obviously mobile is the means to be contextual. Mobile the information that we have of where the customer and what's doing is the way to deliver. And I think there's a huge opportunity in insurance to deliver contextualized products through mobile. And they're probably micro-insurance. The biggest, I think, opportunity is in the smaller insurance products. We're currently working together with Chubb to deliver that portfolio of digital products, especially thinking around those mobile journeys and basing that product development on those interactions, mobile interactions with customers.
So can you tell us a bit more about your partnerships in Latin America?
Yeah, so we're working with a variety of partners. Some are larger, what might be thought of as more traditional customer base and a customer business model. So if you take CitiBanamex, we're working with them to put product and service in through their channels. You can think of that through a web, you can think of that through mobile and some of the banking apps, through to being in their post-log environment, and where you can literally follow the customer journey and deliver more contextual product and service according to their needs. So for example, if they're taking out a loan, delivering a life insurance product as a service, they have a young family and need to protect. To if you're starting up a small business and you're applying to the bank for a loan, well, you clearly need insurance there, whether it's cyber or a business owner's policy. So being able to provide that product at the right place in time. So there are a number of levers that we can pull here, working with the bank partners to help them maximize the asset that they have with their customer base. And you can think of that as a more traditional banking model, but we're also working with others who have different business models.
So can you tell me a bit more about your partnership with Afluenta?
Sure, it's a very exciting venture. They run a peer-to-peer credit lending setup, and you can imagine in that setup you have borrowers and lenders, and that if something unfortunately happened to the borrower, then the lender's out of pocket, and that's where we step in, provide life insurance that helps pay and cover the obligation to the lender.
For us, when we are thinking to enhance, the ability we have to offer products, to the customer segments, we are trying to see, hey, are we good enough in that particular ability, or we need the help of others that will be getting more knowledge than us, and they are specialists in that. And we were looking, to Chubb, in this case, to enhance, the product we are offering, because we believe that adding parts, to our marketplace is the secret of this kind of company. Essentially, a marketplace means that you are not the right expert for that, but we are looking for the right expert to be part of the lending or our marketplace lending community and offer the right service for our customers.
Can you tell us a bit more about this partnership with Chubb?
I mean, we have an extraordinary partnership, with Chubb. In fact, when we design our marketplace and when we design our lending products, just to satisfy borrowers and lenders, we were thinking how to cover risks. Because of lending money is a risk activity, and of course you can mitigate the risk. Proposing diversification of the funds, using the right tools for doing credit assessment. But essentially, what's happening if a person is dying, or the people is dying. So essentially, what we were doing is just to talk with the specialists to help us. Hey, you are a specialist, creating, life insurance product, or credit life in this case. Can you help us, just to improve what the things we are doing, are just to help lenders to mitigate the risk in case of death or some disabilities. And we were discussing with them, and they proposed us, the way to do it in a different way. And in that conversation, the nice thing about our partnership with Chubb is in that conversation that was one single product for the service we have right now, which is lending money. It was extremely useful. Hey, you have another opportunity, for other lending products you have, or just seeing what is the purpose of that loan. Probably, if to add an insurance product, in that case. For example, in Argentina, the main lending product is, since we don't have mortgage industry, a big and vigorous mortgage industry, the people are applying for loans for home improvement. There is an opportunity for the people that are asking a loan for home improvement to add, a coverage, for the home. An insurance product for home. Yes, it's an opportunity, and we are talking with Chubb, just to improve that experience and adding an insurance product every time, a customer is buying a loan for home improvement. And in that way, we have a lot of purposes for loan. If you travel abroad, if you need a coverage, travel coverage, Chubb can help on that. And in that way, we were segmenting every single kind of lending product we have just to add the Insurtech piece.
Can you actually tell me about your digital toolkit?
So we think about the toolkit in a number of parts. First and foremost, you have to be able to integrate with the partner through technology. We do that in several ways. So the first can be just a light touch, where we stand up a website that can be white labeled. It can be co-branded. That's very straightforward. It could be through what we call a widget, where we're just renting some pixels on the partner's website, through to APIs, and this is a deep integration between the two companies, allowing pretty much instantaneous flow of data and information. So that's partner facing. And then sitting the heart of the toolkit is where we have our product. And so what we're doing there is providing a range of customized product and coverages to the partner that they can then choose, select, depending upon how they're thinking about the needs of their customer. Then we have to fulfill the fulfillment part, where we have to issue the policy and the service and the claims and the billing, so the nuts and bolts of that, through to probably the most important part, which is the claims component, and to be able to provide that to the customer. I think underpinning all of that, and we can talk about a digital toolkit, there still needs to be at points and sort of an understanding or recognition, right, of a human touch.
Thank you for joining us once again for the Insurtech Show, and be sure to check out the rest of our episodes on www.fintech.finance. See you next time. Ciao.